For more now, let's welcome an adjunct professor at Montclair State University and author of Dogs Taught Me Everything I Know, Dan Galtrude, along with senior research fellow at American Institute for Economic Research, Jason Sorens. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Dan, I have to say as well, thank you for the book. I have started reading it, haven't finished though, so we'll get to that. But Dan, on Friday, China announcing it will be matching the US tariffs on 125%. So how does China's tariffs affect the markets here at home?
Well, when you talk about how it's going to impact the regular person on Main Street, we could be in for some inflation. Why? Because goods are going to become more expensive. And President Trump has already told us there is going to be some short-term pain for long-term gain. It's just a matter of we have to stick with it. What's most important for the United States, I believe, is that we have to really diversify our trade partners. And part of that means we have to get fair deals across the board here. And if we have all of these countries right now that are reaching out to the White House saying, hey, listen, let's make a deal, what it ultimately does is it isolates China, which is the position that we want to put them in, because ultimately they have never been a fair or good actor, and the time has come for that to happen.
Jason, China is working to isolate the US, though, pushing for both Australia and the EU to help combat the increased levies here. But so far, Beijing's plan doesn't seem to be working, especially with the US giving a 90-day delay to other countries. How do you see this all working out?
I think if the U.S. had kept those high tariffs in place, those so-called reciprocal tariffs on lots of friendly countries, they might have well gone to China. There were even some initial talks between China, Japan, and South Korea when those were in place. But I do think that with that 90-day pause, and especially if that becomes permanent and the administration negotiates deals with friendly countries to bring those tariff rates down, I don't think they're going to turn to China because everyone realizes China's a threat. I think there are national security reasons really why the U.S. and its allies are looking to isolate China economically. It has become a more hostile country over the last 10 years under Xi Jinping. So again, if we are friendly economically to countries like Australia and the EU, then they'll have no reason to go to China.
That's such a good point, Jason. But Dan, while we're certainly seeing that there's uncertainty in the market, last week was a wild week for us. We did get a great inflation report on Thursday with energy prices that seem to keep dropping. In fact, it almost seems as if the economy is fully prepared to continue this standoff against the Chinese. And if anyone else, for that matter, who thinks they can stand against us, they're probably going to see the same fate. How do you see this playing out long term?
Well, I think over time it is going to work out. But the key here is it's going to take time to work these things through. Yes, we did get a positive CPI number. We did get a positive PPI number, which is the producer price index. And yes, fuel costs are dropping. These are things that are all headed in the right direction, and it helps us to keep our economy strong. However, if the trade wars continue, we are going to feel some pain. And I think that the public has to understand that, yes, we may win, but there's going to be some casualties along the way. We are still in the middle of this. We don't know what the outcome is going to be. So, again, let's just let President Trump play this out with his negotiations.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Dan Galtrude, Jason Sorens, thank you very much for joining us.